Hey Taurus, Sun, Moon, and Rising. This is Tina with 85th House Vibrations, and this is your general reading for the month of May 2019. Leaving that out, that's your card, the Hierophant reversed. That popped out. You saw all those cards that popped out. And that one was the one that was flipped over. Very significant, because that's exactly what I was about to talk about, and that is the fact that, first, before we get to that, happy birthday, if I hadn't said that. Rabbit, it's the first day of the month, and the moon is in Aries. Okay, so one of the things that I was going to talk to you about, Taurus, was the fact that Uranus has moved into your sign, and it's finally in there. Its ingress is solid and stable. It's not going to retrograde out of Taurus again. It is there for the long haul, or at least for the next 7 years. And with Uranus is about unexpected change, doing things different. It's innovative and revolutionary. Uranus rules astrology and science and all of those good things. So the Hierophant in the upright position, this card is ruled by Taurus, and it talks about tradition, doing things the same way, the way that you were taught growing up. It's, you know, going to church, or your rabbi, your priest, your whomever it is that you got your life manual from, you know, kind of like following the commandments of the Bible, or whatever it is that you study for spiritual fulfillment. All right, so with that card reversed, it says we're not doing it that way. We are doing things different, and that is exactly what Uranus and Taurus is going to do for you. I've said in a few other videos that it's going to help you to think on your feet. You're gonna get into some places that are uncomfortable and unfamiliar and things like that. So here we go. Let's go ahead and pull a couple more cards. I do feel like, Taurus, that some of you, or probably the entire sign of Taurus to some degree, has reached a state of completion. And I think that state of completion may be around life as you know it has come to an end. There's a sense of completion. Not even a sense. That part of your life is complete, and it's time to move on. So let's see what else is going on. We have got the Eight of Wands, and this is going to be a simple 3-card reading. I just had surgery, and sitting for long periods, I just kind of have to do this in spurts. The next card is the High Priestess. So we got 2 major arcana here on the table, and they look a lot alike if you look at them, except one seems to be the feminine and the other seems to be masculine. So anyway, let's talk about the Eight of Wands, which is the modern interpretation seems to be a flood of information coming in. While I do understand what that's about, the way I learned the Eight of Wands and the way that really resonates with me, and because these are wands and not swords, information is not necessarily the first thing that I see when I think Eight of Wands. What I think it is an infiltration of energy, of activity, of all kinds of things, and that can include information. So what it is with the Eight of Wands is a need to act quickly or possibly miss an opportunity. The thing about that is, in acting quickly, you have to be sure to make the right choice. You have to make an educated choice, which can be difficult when you have to move quickly. And it's like I said, learning how to think on your feet and still being able to make the right decisions. Taurus, that may be a little difficult for you because for the most part, Taurus is about slow and steady wins the race. Not with Uranus in Taurus. That's not happening. Uranus is about let's get it done quick. And like I said, Uranus is the ruler of science and innovation and things like that. It's the modern ruler of Aquarius, which for me is the sign of genius. So this is about making big, smart moves and making them quick. No time to think, doing things different. Now, with the High Priestess here, it's saying you got to be able to look deep within. You got to be able to use your intuition. You got to be able to use the knowledge that's given to you on the surface, the things that you can see. But you also have to be willing to trust your gut and go inward and focus on that instinct. That's what the High Priestess is about. She doesn't just use the information that is provided to her in books, on the internet. Via what somebody said. She looks deep into her psychic self to utilize things that are unseen. Now, the High Priestess is very passive. She knows all, but a lot of times won't say anything. She's got all of this information and she knows how to use it, but aggression is not her thing. She just kind of sits there and holds this and observes what's going on, which is very different from what we have going on here. This is movement. This is not. So for you, Taurus, even though we've been talking about Uranus being in your sign and having to think on your feet and move quickly and all of these things, even though that's the case, what's ingrained in you is a sense of stillness, a sense of slowness, which apparently with the High Priestess sitting right here in her kind of immobile position is still going to be a thing for you. It's still very necessary while you adjust to the changes that are happening around you, the changes in who you're going to be at your core on a soul level. Now, on a more mundane level, I see some of you who were probably going to tie the knot, get married, make some contractual agreements. And for some of you, that may not happen. Things were moving too fast. It all came in so suddenly. But some of you took the time to pay attention to your intuition and say, you know what, or somebody, if it's not you, and say, you know what, this is not the right move. Now, also, the Hierophant reverse could be saying that some of you have chosen to go for the more non-traditional type relationships. We're not going to go to the altar and get married. Some of you may just be choosing to be life partners. Some of you may be exploring gender differences and dating outside or being in relationships that are outside of what you and society and your family, your neighborhood, outside of what things these groups would have considered normal. Some of you in the next 7 years will definitely be deciding to do things differently. Now, the one thing I want to say before I sign off is that like I said in the beginning, this is going to be hard for a lot of you, and that is because, let's see, in the last almost 100 years, we have not had Sun and Uranus in the sign of Taurus. I seriously doubt there's anybody that's watching this video today who has a Sun-Uranus conjunction. Now, don't get me wrong. There might be a 90-year-old plus person out there saying, hey, we watch Tarot too. And if that's you, then thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. Wish I could have some of your knowledge and input. But for the lot of you, this is not the case, because Sun and Uranus have not been together in Taurus since the 1930s. So to deal with that type of energy, to understand it, to know it, and to understand how to utilize it is going to be a major challenge. You really have no choice, Taurus, but to go with it. That's how it is. You're going to be up and coming. There's going to be some moving and shaking, and there's going to be a sense of being uncomfortable as you adjust to these changes. So that's the way I see it, guys. Quick and sweet. Gotta move on. Love you. Talk to you next month.